Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists, and on today we have a second placed list from an 81 person online Zodiac tournament during which certain OCG sets were made legal. This is the brainchild of Musa working alongside some of the other top rated Zefra players on the internet. Specifically DB, you'll see these guys in very high positions frequently, so Musa's definitely one to watch out for. If he's ever online, give him a look. So this list, what of it is actually different from a normal Zefra list? Well, first of all, he's using the Numeron package to establish an early Zexal and control the game from there. Additionally, because the OCG sets were made legal for this event, the guys had access to Blazing Vortex, which I believe is what set Pot of Disparity is due to come out in. We'll quickly cover the effect of this card. You banish 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck face down. That's not random, by the way. Then you excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the number banished, so you normally get 6. And you pick one and add it to your hand. The rest you put on the bottom of your deck in any order for the rest of the turn after the card resolves. Any damage your opponent takes is halved, not super relevant when you're normally playing this turn 1, and also you cannot draw any cards by card effects the turn you activate this effect. You can only activate Pot of Disparity once per turn. Pretty standard. So the only thing that really conflicts with normal Zefra plays is the you cannot draw by card effects thing, because normally you're stacking something with Path, with Oracle, and then drawing it off the Croc Dragon. So that's the only time when that actually conflicts with the deck. We'll quickly run through the list. There are a lot of very cool choices that have been made. So after that, we'll jump into the matchups and the siding strategy that Musa employed for this, because it will make a lot more sense when we cover that stuff. So 3 Pathfinder, 3 Gamma, 2 Zefra Empirica, 1 Wendy, 2 Thuban, 1 Zefra Exciton, 3 Zefrath, 3 Zefra Nui, 3 Zefraxi, 1 Driver, 1 Cooling, 1 Network, 3 Oracle, 3 Disparity, 1 Terraforming, 1 Path, 3 Providence, 1 Nine Pillars, 1 Divine Strike, and 3 War. For the extra, there's 1 Horus, 1 High Paladin, 1 Omega, 1 Croc Dragon, 1 Atagnista, this is the Wind Pegasus, 1 Sheridan. He's got the Numeron package alongside a Utopia Beyond, then 1 Barricade Borg Blocker, 1 Gravity Controller, and 1 Lambda. So Lambda obviously makes the Gamma's life. I actually think one of the options for the Barricade Borg Blocker is just so that you can get your Path and then go into your network, I think. That's one of the options anyway, but there are a few reasons to bring it out. For the side deck, 2 Lancia, 3 Dimension Shifter, 3 Flying Sea, 1 Ghost Ogre, 2 Exchange, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and 3 Cosmic Cyclone. So obviously the main point of the deck is to set up your Zexal play, regardless of whether you get to that or not. So it's really consistent to get to that. Even if you can't get to that, you get to play standard Zefra control, popping stuff with War, negating stuff with Divine Strike, and 9 Pillars, and just floodgating your opponent out with Path. So lots of great options there, and Path also lets you play around various hand traps, so that's a nice touch on it too. For your aggressive side, you've got the Horus that you can use to push into your Sheridan. You've also got the Naverna High Paladin, which lets you, when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, halve your opponent's life points. So very, very aggressive ways. It's also on 3300, so some very good options for aggressive pushes, which sometimes you'll see Zefra kind of struggle with, because it is generally played as a control deck, really. But the fact that you can pop stuff with War and then go into this guy and start dealing with some serious damage is pretty crazy there. But let's grab the extra information from Musa. So 81 players. The only difference from this relative to what he would play for the normal version of the deck is the 3 Pot of Disparity coming in exchange for 3 Pot of Extravagance is what it would normally be, basically. So get some extra draw power from that one instead. 7 rounds of Swiss followed by Top Cut. He finished second in Swiss, beating things like Dogmatica Invoked, Dinosaur, Eldritch, including a Life Twin build. Actually, the only loss in Swiss was to Zoo, which he says is one of the harder matchups. In Top Cut, in top 8 he won 2-1 against Prankids, in top 4 he won 2-1 against Dragoon Eldritch, and only lost in the final 2-1 to a Drytron build. So the siding, going first, you always put in 2 Exchange. That basically means you can start your setup play your exchange so that you can see the opponent's hand and then play through whatever else is in their hand. If it does get to steal a monster, you can then use it to make your Vampire Sheridan sometimes, which is quite cool. In order to fit in the two exchanges, he would normally take out 1 War and 1 Pathfinder. You slightly reduce the consistency, but the deck is so incredibly consistent already that I don't think it really makes any significant difference there. It's much more impactful to be able to see your opponent's hand and work from there. For going second, he was pretty much always siding in the Dimension Shifter, except for the Zoo matchup. He says that's the really bad matchup, hence the Flying Sea in the side. I really like the concept of Flying Sea. It just comes in the weird formats where Xyz are a serious problem. But in this case, I don't think Zodiac is necessarily a problem deck in the format. But because Zefra has such a hard time against that particular deck, Flying Sea can be really important there. So going second, in order to fit in those 3 Dimension Shifters or the Flying Seas, you would typically take out Wars, Pathfinders, and so normally 1 War, 1 Pathfinder, 1 Thuban. If you need to take out more, you can take out more copies of those. The only time that changes is against things like Drytron, where you need to be able to defeat the Vanities Ruler, and Thuban really helps you with that one. So the Ogre in the side deck was initially brought in for Zoo, but he quickly realized that it just wasn't that good in that matchup. So it basically never really got sided in. And then sort of more of the theory behind this deck. So the reason why he's playing the Numeron engine over the VFD combo is that he found that Zefra Path pretty much already does everything that VFD accomplishes, in that it just stops your opponents from applying a lot of pressure via the monster effects and the summoning. So the main problem that this particular deck actually has is things like Evenly, so he felt like Zexal was a lot stronger. Zefra Path can stop the Zexal play from being hit by Nibiru and Gamma, unless they happen to draw the Driver, which is really unlikely, so it's very, very strong there. And to do the combo, you just need any variation of Oracle, Zefrath, and basically any scale, and that will get you to the full play. So it's really consistent to get there, because so many of these cards are just other copies of themselves, and when you add in the Disparity, it's even more. The play is basically you Pendulum Summon your Zefraxi and your Zefra Nu. Nu adds the Providence, and then Zefraxi makes Nu a tuner, and Providence gets you the Path. Then you get to synchro into your Croc Dragon. As Chainlink 1, you'll activate Zefra to draw a card. As Chainlink, activate Croc Dragon to draw a card. As Chainlink 2, you would stack the deck with your Oracle. So you get to stack your Pathfinder to the top of the deck. As Chainlink 1, you get to draw it off the Croc Dragon, and then you get to normal summon it, and that becomes Network, becomes the full Zexal line. So that's a really nice aspect of the deck, is just adding in that additional control element, because Musa's clearly been playing Zefra a lot, realized, the deck doesn't need to stick a VFD on, it doesn't need to do that same thing, just because so many other decks are doing such a similar thing. And by going for Zexal, you enter this weird alternate option, where although a lot of the side strategies that attempt to beat VFD, which is popular, can also beat Zexal, there are niche scenarios where it doesn't work out quite that way for your opponent, so a very, very cool option to have there. Shoutouts go to Ben Gregson /Dilemma, who you may have seen on the channel before, and also to Matthias Baeska for helping with the deck theory and the deck building, and all around those guys have just been doing such a great job on the DB rated format. So as I say, definitely check them out if you see them in any of the online matches. Definitely worth a watch. Thanks very much for watching this, guys. Remember, you can grab the full deck list as a DB download link in the description. What do you think about Pot of Disparity? Do you think it's going to have a huge impact on the format? We'll just have to wait and find out. Thanks very much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.